Okay, so these are some unsocialized puppies. Oh, let me see. That's Ringo. That's one of our dogs.
East European puppies?
Pardon?
Are these the East European puppies?
I think so. I can't remember who they were. Can you see how terrified they are?
But they're so interested. Oh.
Yes, they're very interested, and we can talk about that in a second. And Ringo is being so good. Ringo is offering his butt and saying, this is the part that without the teeth. Don't worry about it. Now these particular puppies are going to try to force people or other dogs away by barking. So they're going to get as far away as they can. They're fleeing. And they're trying to force the other dog to go back by going bark, 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 bark. Why do they go forward and back again and forward and back again? They have a very deep instinct to want to investigate anything that they might consider, that might be considered interesting. You know, there is that's what puppies do, is they investigate. And as a matter of fact, that's what adult dogs do too. They investigate new things that come on the scene. So you get a very fearful dog who will do precisely what they did. Go all the way up, hackles up, reach out, I've got to touch, and then as soon as the object of their fear moves, they go, oh my God, and go back again. And then they do it again. And they do it again. And if we'd left him there with Ringo for a long enough period of time, they would have started to settle down with Ringo, especially if he lay down. But then if he got up, they'd start the barking all over again. Now those puppies were probably about 9 weeks old. Hard to say without looking at them right, you know, without seeing them right now, but they're probably right around that age. Can we override that? That's really debatable. Because sometimes you can help them, but the chances are that you're not going to be able to help them as much as they need, as the help that they need. So fearful body language, which you saw with the puppies, would be the piloerection. The hackles are up. You saw their hackles way up there. Their ears were back. They were going back and forth and back and forth. This is more of a fear, I'm going to run away thing. Tongue flicks are, it's kind of like licking your lips if you're scared. And of course the tail tucked. And people understand tail tucking. They go, oh, the tail is all the way under. Of course then you get a whippet. And their tail's always tucked. Or what do you do with a dog that doesn't have a tail? You know, butt tucked. I guess butt tucked. Okay, so this is one you guys have probably seen before. This is Rogue. I'm going to go on the other side. I feel more comfortable there. And Rogue shows a lot of classic signs of fear. There, back up, pinned ears, eyes wide, being approached. She's not going to turn her back, because if she turns her back, she's vulnerable. So she's going to keep backing up, showing her front side, so she can keep keep whatever it is that's scary in view. Look at her eyes. And can you see how still she is? She's very, very stiff. She's definitely a very worried dog. Hmm? Brave person, that's Trisha. Yeah. We call ourselves either brave or stupid, you know. So if she were really trapped, do you think she would bite?
Yeah.
You betcha she'd bite.
Is there a chance that dog could just turn around and bite?
Trisha?
No, the dog.
Yes, I didn't think Trisha would. Bite the handler? Yes, absolutely. But she's holding the dog carefully, and she's reading the dog the whole time. This is one of those things where you say, don't do this at home. because she's actually taking the measure of the dog the whole time.
Is this dog getting less scared now or more, do you think?
I think it's just locked in a fear, just locked in fear. And she's going to be very, very, very happy as soon as Tricia lets her go. Okay. Fear then can lead to aggression. So if that happens when a dog feels intimidated. So if I was a person who didn't know very much and there was a dog that was like Rogue, with eyes dilated, and one of the things that happens with dogs that are very fearful is that they look at you. Because one of the pieces of advice we give is don't look at the dog. But we're drawn to look at the dog because the dog is looking straight up at us, so we look down at them. And that can cause the spark of aggression. That can cause the dog to become aggressive. If the dog feels it trapped, if it's on its own territory, it is far more likely to be aggressive than it is to not be aggressive. And I have consulted with umpteen people who say that my dog is always, it's fine unless it's, right in the house, or, if it can meet people at the dog park, no problem, goes into the territory in the house and all of a sudden becomes Cujo. And they go, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. No, it's not. It's actually normal behavior. It's like a little old man with a gun. Don't come into my house. Dog might feel trapped being approached by another dog, being approached by a person, and certainly hugging. And people do. Especially if a dog is scared and the dog is shaking. What do we do? Oh, do poor witty ting, hug, hug, hug. And so the dog at this point, if you watch the dogs, got a visual of the dog while you were hugging, you may think everything is fine, but the dog is usually like this. Don't like that, really don't like that. So this is a little Chihuahua Pit Bull mix. This dog is going to feel trapped. And the tail is wagging. This is the time you don't look at the tail. You look at the part that could bite. So it's barking at my stuffed Dobie. Can you see how the ears go back every time? Now I put a calming cap on the Dobie so that there was no eye contact. But this dog is very afraid of dogs, period.
Trish, is that Chili?
Chili?
She was in the DD class?
Yeah, she was in the DD class. How'd she do?
She really improved.
Yeah, they were the greatest owners in the world. Just really wonderful owners.